Yo, I'm Bob. Into Marvel, happen to be totally blind since birth. Talking about Spider-Man the Animated Series Season 2, Episode 9, Neogenic Nightmare Chapter 9, Blade, the Vampire Hunter. This is episode 22 of the show overall. It premiered on February 3rd in 1996. Spoilers ahead. If you haven't watched the episode, do that before you watch this vid, or you're going to get spoiled. That being said, jumping right in, you were warned. So they aired these two episodes out of order. You know, a lot of these episodes in season 2, they serve as two-parters. And Tablet of Time, as well as Ravages of Time, those aired before and during Thanksgiving in 1995. So you saw chapters 11 and 12 before you saw chapters 9 and 10. I don't know why they were aired out of order, but yeah, it took me a while to find out that, oh, Spider-Man is still having to worry about his mutation disease. When this episode opens, as he's swinging through the city, he says Dr. Crawford reversed his mutation, but she didn't cure him. So he's got to go to ESU's lab every 24 hours to get a dose of the neogenic recombinator, or he's going to mutate again. So, yeah, I remember when the last episode wrapped up. And then seeing Tablet of Time, not really sure what the heck had happened. I actually thought it was Chapter 9, Tablet of Time was, because I didn't have anybody there to read the title. But it's a good thing that I got it all sorted out when these two episodes had aired. I had my mom come in and read me the episode title as well as the chapter title, because, you know, well, you're a blind kid and you're sitting down to watch an episode and you're assuming that it's going to be the next one in chronological order. But that being said, I really did like Chapter 9 because Spider-Man's not out of the woods yet. He's having to look for Morbius. And on top of that, Morbius has attracted Blade, the attention of Blade. And it's a normal night for Morbius, a normal plasma draining night for him until, yeah, Blade shows up on his motorcycle. And this was my first introduction to the character. I wanted to talk about the action figure because they did make one of him. I don't think they made the motorcycle, but I remember how cool the action figure was when I got him for Christmas during the year of 1996. He didn't come with that much. He came with some spears. They looked like giant axes that went into this thing on his back and they'd fire out of him. He had a gun attached to one of his shoulders. He had a little missile attached to the other. I guess maybe the missile was supposed to be his garlic gas bombs or whatever. I don't know, because there was nothing on the package that told you about anything. My brother was a bit bummed because Blade didn't have a sword. I didn't know until my brother had mentioned it to me that Blade wielded a sword. It makes sense because, well, you know, he calls himself Blade, so yeah, he's probably going to wield a sword. The opening fight between Blade and Morbius is pretty fun. I feel bad for Michael because he's spending most of this episode screaming, and I would imagine trying to run away from Blade because Blade is just hurling garlic gas bombs at the guy. He's exposing Morbius to artificial sunlight. I don't know what weapon Blade used in order to do this. They did make a Spider-Man action figure in the toy line, and he had a gun that opened into this diamond shape when you pressed a button on the action figure's back, and there was this little artificial sunlight effect that would be exposed whenever you did that. I always wondered if Blade used a weapon like that in order to stave off Morbius. And yeah, he's right in the middle of Spider-Man and Morbius's fight there at the beginning of the episode. And I remember liking Blade right away. He's voiced by J.D. Hall, and he had such a really raspy, no nonsense kind of voice. I love that for Blade. And one of my favorite bits in the entire animated series is when Blade, he's had enough of Spider-Man, and he's like, "Let's see how you react to a dose of my poison gas." And of course, we go to commercial, and right away, I'm thinking, "Oh yeah, it's probably going to be garlic, and it's gonna be hilarious." And of course, it was, because we get back from our little commercial break, and Spider-Man is just beyond belief. And he tells Blade, "Well, what the heck, man? You sprayed me with garlic?" And Blade's like, "Wait a minute, you can breathe." Peter's like, "Yeah, barely." And Blade figures out, okay, so you're not a vampire, you're just a normal guy. And he heads off into the night to search for Morbius, because Morbius has escaped. Um, the the next scene, I was afraid he was going to mutate again, because he all of a sudden starts groaning in pain yet again, and he's like, "Oh, I got to get back to Dr. Connors. My mutation disease is flaring up." And I'm like, man, you know, this guy never catches a break. So yeah, we find out that he's got to go in for every 24 hours to get a dose of the recombinator. We also find out that security has been beefed up in ESU's lab after, as Connor says, that frightening business with Herbert Landon and the Brand Corporation. So thanks for screwing it up for everybody else, Herbert. Now everybody's frightened about neogenics. And Connors is worried that they're going to shut down the recombinator. And we're reminded yet again, well, if ESU gets the grant from the Toombs Foundation, I mean, a guy who has the last name Toombs, he's got to be a nice old man, right? I mean, he's going to give everybody money. I mean, what are the odds that he's going to be another guy in a costume, huh, Spidey? But yeah, when they get the money from the Toombs Foundation, everything is, well, according to Connors, it won't matter. Everything's going to be hunky-dory. So that's going on. Spider-Man's got to worry about that. Not only does he have to worry about his mutation disease flaring up, but he's got to worry about, the lab possibly losing funding, somebody probably coming in there and taking the machine away. And it is always a stressful day for Peter Parker. It's a wonder this guy doesn't have to go into the doctor for like stomach pains. Well, his sides are bothering him right now, but I would imagine stress would probably cause his gut to be on fire. Oh yeah, it was in in Enter the Punisher, right before he turned into the Man Spider. He said his gut was on fire. How about that? So yeah, he's having all kinds of pains at the moment. Pause video. Probably some of them stress pains that we don't know about. Space. So Spider-Man is still being sought by NYPD because everybody thinks he has captured Morbius and drained his blood, or plasma. We should probably say plasma. So everybody thinks Spider-Man is still mutated into a monster. And I kind of wish we could have seen a bit of Jameson in this episode. He is definitely responsible for all of the hysteria around Spider-Man. Another fight scene before we go to another commercial break. And I like how Morbius is becoming more comfortable with being a vampire, because he's actually been tracking Spidey, and he's been wanting help up until this episode. Because you remember in Enter the Punisher as well as Duel of the Hunters, he had been seeking a cure, but apparently he woke up feeling a bit different this particular episode. He likes his new life. He feels like he can't be hurt. He can't be unalived. So yeah, he doesn't want to be cured. And Spider-Man is actually suffering a plasma drain himself, which is kind of interesting. You'd think that Morbius would have mutated into something horrible, because Spider-Man's blood is not exactly something. Well, I mean, he's already got it in him, but I mean, it's even worse now, because now his cells are even more insane. So I was thinking, oh geez, if this guy drains Spider-Man yet again, what the heck's going to happen to him? Of course, I guess nothing. He's feeling a bit stronger until Blade comes in there, and saves Spider-Man's spider bacon. Now I'm thinking of Spider Ham, which I probably shouldn't be. Uh, it's a really short fight scene, but we get more of Morbius screaming in pain. Nick Jameson, the guy who voices Morbius, he must have had fun doing a lot of screams and cries this particular episode. Blade does not let up on Morbius, which I like. I mean, this guy has been terrorizing people. Not that he wanted to, but now he's kind of becoming a bit of a problem because he likes what he's doing now. So, yeah, I'm all for Morbius screaming a little bit here. Blade is really enjoying himself as he's doing his thing.
Stop. Pause video space.
So I always found the scene in which we learn of Blade's origins and in which we meet Whistler. I've always found that one quite fascinating. No, I still haven't seen the first two Wesley Snipes movies. I kind of watched the third one. It was long after I'd seen these two episodes, so I knew who the character was. I knew what he was about. But yeah, this scene always stuck with me because this was the first time I'd learned that Blade was who he was, half vampire. So he could walk during the day. He wasn't affected by sunlight. But he had to take this serum in order to stave off his hunger pangs. And I love Malcolm McDowell doing the voice of Whistler in this incarnation. He's always been one of my favorite voice actors because he's done quite a bit of voice acting over the years. And so, when he showed up here, I mean, I couldn't identify the actual name because this was really before I got into the internet, so I couldn't really identify a lot of people, but I knew the voice. It's like, oh, they got that guy to do Whistler. I mean, I can't remember what I'd heard him in before here, but yeah, he makes a great Whistler. Very compassionate, very wise. He brings a lot to the role of the character. Even though we don't see him very much in this episode, he's here to, I think, be a mediator between Blade and Spider-Man, to try to get Blade to stop being so suspicious of Peter here. And I always liked the science behind vampires in this incarnation. Their bodies burn iron very fast, so they need more quote unquote plasma to get the iron that they need. And we find out that, I guess, vampirism in this incarnation, it's due to gosh, hang on just a sec.
Stop taking. Pause space.
Very noisy Friday afternoon outside as I film this. But yeah, we also learn that apparently mutation has something to do with vampirism in this incarnation. So that's kind of interesting. It's a very brief scene, but I like just how much is alluded to. So I guess Dracula is possibly not in this incarnation. We don't know of him. He might very well be. I know he's been in some other Marvel animated series, future Marvel animated series, in which he's voiced by Corey Burton, but I don't know if there is a Dracula in this reality. Might not be. Vampirism might just be, caused by the mutant gene, as Whistler says. So I always like that little bit of the episode there.
Pause video space.
And you got Blade wanting to destroy the neogenic recombinator, and of course Peter needs that in order to stave off his mutation, and he's not about to let that happen. So, he also needs it, of course, to reverse what's going on with Morbius. So now he's got somebody else wanting to take out the recombinator. So, yeah, definitely not a good day for Peter. And then you have Mary Jane calling him and really wanting to talk with him to try and figure out what the heck's going on between the two of them. And he of course wants to do this, and they're having this meeting as you know, what's going to be done about the individual draining the plasma. And Felicia's there. She's upset, wanting Spider-Man to be brought to justice, and it's always bad timing for Peter. He's just trying to do the right thing, walk her to her car, and Mary Jane's just had enough. Of course, I mean, at this point, she feels like Peter's been avoiding her, and he has, of course. He's not explaining anything to her. It's one of those situations in which he's just having a bad evening, and so she's had enough. She actually decides to go out to dinner with Harry, I guess, in order to get back at Peter. It's one of those times in which I'm wishing, oh man, this guy really needs a break. I mean, you want him to say, hey, I'm Spider-Man, this is what I've been up to, but of course he can't do that. He doesn't want to do that because it puts his loved ones in jeopardy, so he's not about to do that. And he loses the girl to help Felicia. Felicia's not interested in him at all. She's worried about Michael. She's grieving. This guy's trying to do the right thing, and of course that's just not. That's not doing him any favors at all. But I mean, that's Peter. He's trying to help everybody. He's trying to be the nice guy, and that's just not working out for him. Always cool to see, or rather hear, Dawnn Lewis as Terry Lee. You know, when they're having their little meeting about what to do about the plasma draining disease and all that. You know, she starts really hitting Peter hard with questions like, well, Morbius is gone. You and Felicia were an item, so you're benefiting from this. And that of course isn't something Peter wants to hear, but you've got Terry just trying to do her job, but yeah, she's coming down on him pretty hard. And I like that we're not done with her in this two-parter. You know, she's trying to figure out what happened to Morbius, just trying to do what she needs to do in order to find him. But she's she's barking up the wrong tree as the episode comes to a close. So yeah, Morbius, apparently he's taken the Recombinator. Blade has tracked him, and there's another little fight before the ending of the episode. You have Spider-Man showing up and saving him, and they finally agree to work together, but Blade is kind of chastising him because he doesn't know everything about hunting vampires. So Blade is there to kind of show him the ropes at the end of the episode. And I love that this one doesn't necessarily end on a cliffhanger. We had a lot of those in season 2. I mean, it is a two-parter, but you don't have someone about to be unalived at the end of an episode. You don't have someone mutating into a beast or anything like that. You just have Blade telling him, stay alert, web slinger, it's going to be a long night. So, we finally get that team up. But apparently Morbius, I hope I didn't say Blade before. Apparently Morbius has taken the Recombinator. I'm not sure when he snuck off with it though, because Spider-Man says at the ending of the episode he needs to get the Recombinator back. So yeah, Morbius now wants to create more vampires. He wants more company, I guess, and so he's getting even more. I don't know if I want to call him unstable, but he's got plans now. He's comfortable with who he is, with where he is in life, and he just wants company. So now he's going to make a whole bunch more vampires. So they need to get the Recombinator back. It was a pretty good episode. Like I said, my favorite scenes had to do with Blade and Whistler learning who Blade was. Apparently, we get to see Blade's mother in cameo here in the episode. We also get to see Deacon Frost, from what I've been able to see online. That would have been an interesting character to explore in the animated series. But we're not done with Blade's mom, which is really cool. I like that they got a Star Trek alumni to voice her later on in the animated series. Can't wait to get to that episode. But next time we're going to be talking about the Immortal Vampire. Be here for that. I sure as heck hope I didn't miss anything in this particular episode. A few very brief fight scenes, but I really like the lore in the episode. I think that's what did it for me as a kid, and that's what I keep coming back to when I rewatch these two episodes. But I really need to get around to watching Blade 1 and 2. Just seeing Blade Trinity is just not enough. I gotta watch the first two movies at some point, because I really like Wesley Snipes as Blade. I think he killed it. Absolutely. Anyway, till next time, guys.
Stop taking video button.